Hello, everyone. Here we are on a Hot Day Wednesday, day two. That's day two of guess what we're working on? That's right, the Exploding Heart. So, before we get started, let's check all of the audio, the visual, and make sure all of our devices are off. And Tisha wants to learn just to follow in the chat. So, I want to go ahead and bring that up and everything. So give us a minute just to check everything. Let me get my eyeballs going and make sure everything is up. And is that day one? No, that's day two. Okay, I'm waiting for it to go up. Here we go. Ah, I got into the chat. Yay! Oh my God, I love this. And you know what? I can't say this enough. Just like you guys are learning, Tisha is learning as well. And so we have to be gracious and as we're going through this process. But I want to say thank you guys for being patient with me as I'm learning this. And as you all learning the explosion of hearts. So thank you, thank you. So it looks like I'm in the chat. I think I got the thumbs up from a partner. I think okay. That means you guys can hear me, you can see me, all that good stuff. So that's wonderful. Now, today we have three cameras. So I just want to make sure and remember, Tisha's trying to do all of this by herself. So I got three cameras and I want to make sure they're up and they're looking good and they're looking. I'm taking a look at them. I can see them. I like their angle. You can, so that looks wonderful. And before I get started, let me just introduce myself. Sometimes I just get right into class because I'm so excited. Again, my name is Tisha, co-owner of Sew Create Lounge, and we are the culture keepers of sewing and quilting with the mission to teaching the world to stitch one step at a time. And with that being said, like I said earlier, we are working on the Exploding Heart Quilt. This is day two for us. And so if you tuned in, if this is your first time, welcome. But if you want to see how we cut our blocks, our triangles, all those things, check out our video on our Facebook and our Instagram page. I think our YouTube, right? Yeah, it's coming. Okay. We're on all those channels. So check us out. So check in today one if you want to join us in this project. With that being said, guess what? We have these kits available. So if you're interested in going through this journey with us, please join us. You can check out our kits. We have the pattern. So you can purchase this just with the pattern, which I'm holding here, or you can purchase the pattern with the fabric. So we have a kit already ready for you. You don't have to worry about, oh my God, okay, let me go get my fabric. Let me decide on my background. You don't have to worry about it. We have done that for you, okay? So definitely check that out, okay? Now, this is to my members because I'm always trying to get that little tidbit information out to you guys whenever I can, and if I'm on, I just want to get that information out to you. We've had some questions about our calendar. We sent out a few emails about how to access your calendar for February, but you just need to log into your portal. Okay, log into your portal, click on that link, go to your calendar, and click on it, and that's going to populate the month of February. Okay, so definitely check that out. With that being said, I have something else. What else is going on in the world of So Creative Lounge? Ah, for my people. Also, my members, we're in the middle of working on our vest, right? We got class tonight, right? So to my members, I want to let you all know. And if we were listening last week, when I checked in with you guys last week, we're actually coming out with some videos, and we're going to add the instructions on how to take your blocks and make it into a vest. Okay. So don't fret. We're not leaving you out there. We're working on it, but I just want to put that out there that we're working behind the scenes to get that out. But be a little patient with us. Remember, it's only two of us with a handful of volunteers everywhere. And they're trying to make sure that we are listening to you guys and we can fill in those gaps where you need. So that will be coming soon. Okay. So to my boutiques, don't forget you got class tonight. And so you'll probably see Cecily because she's working on her blocks. You definitely may want to see me in the beginning. I'm gonna try to hang in as long as I can. And I think Carrie will be there. So have fun tonight. Whew. With all of that being said, let's get right into the exploding heart. Now, yesterday we went through all the different options of cutting. I showed you so many tools, a machine, which I thought was just amazing. And I've been getting a lot of feedback from it. We've had some visitors come in this morning talking about, oh my God, I love that machine. Tisha, I have that machine. Like, oh, So that's really good. So I'm hoping that I'm filling in some of those gaps for those who are struggling with cutting, and for those that do have the machines, how I can use my machine for this particular project. So I'm hoping that was really helpful for you. For today, we're going to talk about those different blocks uh, that we need, and we need about 6 of them. So on page 6 in our instruction sheet, we're going to start going from there. I'm sorry, is it page 6? No, we're going to start with page 2. Sorry about that. We're going to start with page 2, and we're going to start from there looking at these blocks, okay? Start labeling them. I'm going to be using a sticky note. So I have my sticky notes, my markers here, and we're going to start building up all of these different sets and everything. So today I'm going to go through A through F with you guys. Yep, that's F. So there's 6 different blocks. We're going to actually make each one of these blocks today. Okay, so you'll see me in the camera. I'm going to be doing a little sewing. We're going to come over to the cutting mat. So we're going to talk about pressing as well. That's extremely important. And build up our 6 blocks. Okay. So with that said, let's meet over at the cutting table and let's start with block A. All right. So here we are with block A. And as you can see, I already have it up on the camera. So let's bring that on over here. And I'm going to set these aside. So in our instruction sheet on page 2, oh, before I start, you know what, Tisha, don't forget the chat. That's right. So before I start, just let me double check the chat, see how everyone is doing. And just in case we had any questions. Okay, yes, ma'am. Okay, wonderful. Somebody is still chilling. Okay, wonderful. Working on the great one, baby. Oh, a lot of people are working on this quilt. Good for you guys. Like to get the. Okay, Debbie, someone's gonna help you with that. Okay. And let's see. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Here is A. All right, so as you can see, I have my sticky notes here, okay? And I have labeled with just a simple marker, okay? A, B, C, all the way up to F, okay? And again, I'm on page 2. So if we look at our piece, our blocks here, we'll notice that block A is the background fabric, okay? They're already cut for me. So I'm going to go ahead and take this and put this on A. And let's go ahead and grab a pen. So I already know that this is my block A. Beautiful. And I'm going to put that right in the corner right there. So if that's block A, that's one down, and we only have 5 more to go. So block B will be my next one. So let's start putting these pieces together. So I no longer realize that I will be using squares now. No more squares at this point, because if I look at this, all of these for B, C, D, E, and F, we're working with triangles. So let me bring over my triangle pieces, okay? So I have some black triangle pieces here, which is my background piece, which is, for me, it is the white part in my diagram on page 2. And the color pieces are pink, teal, and purple. These are, for me, the African prints. I don't have to use those particular colors, but they're all the African prints I have here, okay? So, since I have A completed, if you turn to page 3, it will show you how to assemble your blocks, okay? And we talked about this yesterday, how to assemble if you're just using the your regular cutting, okay? However, I am using the pre-cut, the die cut pieces. So I'm going to follow this diagram here in pink, okay? So it tells me that I need to bring one of my African prints and one of my background pieces together at the short ends. And so I'm just going to recap that from yesterday. Let me bring this back over. And so let's look at our triangles, because a lot of times we get confused as to what the short ends are. And so she's going to constantly use that same language. So it's really important for us to know what the anatomy of the triangles are. So if you look at your triangles and you look at them at the longest side is usually the bottom of the triangle, and the two sides on the right and left are usually what she's referring to as the sides. Okay. So if I bring the two sides together like this, there you can see I have formed that half of a triangle for now. Okay. So we will put these together, right side to right side, and sew these up. So what would that look like sewn? Well, it's going to look like this once it's sewn. So I've already sewn this one. Okay, so that's half of the battle. So let's go ahead and take that off. That's half of it. And then it tells us, now that we have this completed, let's go ahead and bring over two of our background pieces. Bring them together with the two short ends. So I'm going to put that one right on over here. Here are my two black pieces. Let's bring those two short ends. Let me just stand up my triangles. Okay, here's my base, short ends. Bring those together. And then I'll put those two together, right side to right side. And I will have something that will look like this. Aha. So once it's sewn, I'll have this now. So let's put these pieces to the side. All right, so now it says in order to, once you finish your two pieces, let's bring those two together to form a triangle. Oh, look at that. I'm sorry, form your square. So as you can see, as I put them together, that is my square. And that looks exactly like my picture in my diagram. And I really like that. So when you're bringing your pieces together, I want to emphasize how important this is to making sure your seams line up with the other seam, okay? Seam to seam. So make sure when you're pressing your seams to one side. Some people prefer opening their seams, which is, oh my God, so painful for me, especially when the seams are only a 1/4 inch wide. So for me, I like pressing these first because once I know what side I've pressed my seam on, I want to press this one to the opposite side, okay, if I can. So you really don't want those seams to sit on top of each other if you don't have to, okay? So I've already pressed mine, and we're going to talk about pressing in a few minutes. Now, so let's grab some more pins here. And, uh-oh, let me come back to that. I lost my chat. Okay, there it go. I think it's there. All right. I was just checking on my chat just to see if I had any questions. All right. So let's go ahead and stagger these seams one on top of the other. And if you notice, I'm paying attention right here. Put a pin in it, pin or clip, and there we go. And then I'll go ahead and pin the rest. But the most important thing is start with that pin in the center right there where that seam is. So I'm going to pin those ends. Now, if you find that you don't need a pin, you can go ahead and take this straight to the sewing machine, then do so. Okay. Now, before we change position, let's go ahead and get Buttercup going. Okay. Let's go ahead and give her some water, just a little. We had so many visitors this morning. I had no time to do this extra prep work. I usually have all of this ready, but it's all good, all good. And so let's go ahead and give her a little steam. I'm going to turn her to a cotton setting. There we go. And we're going to let that warm up while we take this to the sewing machine to sew it up, okay? All right, so let's meet over at the sewing machine. All right, so we're here at the sewing machine, and as you know, When Tisha starts sewing, you always want to test your stitches. So I just was in here testing my stitches. And now that I have something here, this is really good for my machine to have something to hold on to. So I'm just going to slide it to the back, not cut it off, slide it to the back, and go ahead and place my fabric right underneath my foot here. And again, I'm sewing at a 1/4 of an inch. Okay, I am ready. I'm coming to that center, and I'll pull up my pen when I get really, really close. Nice. Come all the way down. Beautiful. All right, so let's look at our block. Oh my God, that's beautiful. All right, so let's meet over at the cutting table and let's press this out. All right, so here we are back at the cutting table and we just finished block B. Now, in her instruction sheet, she does talk about where to press your seams, and she says press the seams towards the, I believe the color fabric, and for me, it's the African print fabric. Um, this is when it's time for me to make a decision as if I'm going to follow those instructions or not. So, what do you mean, Tisha? Well, one thing that I noticed with African print fabric and with my black fabric, my African fabric is much heavier. We've talked about this in several of our groups in our membership, how dense African fabric can be, which is beautiful because the denser it is, the less shrinkage you'll have. And so some of your African print fabrics may be really heavy and heavier in weight than your cotton fabric, which you're using for your background. And because of that, I really don't want to press the fabric towards the African print because it's so heavy. And these pieces are really, really tiny. And so it may be hard to force that 1/4 inch seam to come back because it's so stiff and it's so hard to come back to the African print fabric. So in this instance, yeah, I'm pressing my seams to the black fabric because of that reason. So I don't really have to struggle. So for me, because my fabric is much lighter, I press my seams to the back of the background fabric. But check your fabric, check the weight, and you may need to follow her instructions. But for me, I'm using it opposite. Okay. So with that being said, now that my block is ready and everything, and I know that this is my African print fabric, so I'm gonna press my fabric, that seam towards the black because of that reason. Okay. So I think my iron is ready. Buttercup, you ready? Yeah, she is ready. And I am going to go ahead and get that seam going. Give a nice little, oh, beautiful. Nice. All right. Good job, Buttercup. Oh, let me leave her down. Habit with these Olicios, you need to leave them down. All right, so we just completed one of our blocks. Block B. Ta-da. We're moving right along. So 2 are down. Guess what? We have 3 more to go, right? That's right. All right, so block, before we move on to the next block, let's check the chat. Let's see what we have going on here. Okay. Okay, I think everyone is good, but I was just double checking. All right, wonderful. All right, so let's move on to block C. So block C is on page 4 there, page 4, okay? And so it's telling us to bring 1 African print, which is the color, and 1 background. and my background is black. Oh, let's use another color. I want something nice and bright. Nice and bright. Okay, let's take how about a blue? We just did an orange, like a peachy color. Let's do something bluish. Oh, yes, there we go. So I'm gonna put those two together. Again, I'm gonna come back, stand up my triangles. These are my sides. Let's put those two together. All right. And then it tells me for my second section of this block, I need to do the same thing. Okay, so let me set that one aside and get something opposite of my blue. And how about this nice green? Oh, yeah. And another black piece. Okay. And now it tells me again, stand up my triangles, the sides. Okay. So let's do the same thing here with this side. So since we did the other side, I'm going to do the opposite side because they look like they stagger. Bring them together, opposite. And I noticed that my green is on the same side of as my color. So I realized, I got the wrong side. So I shouldn't have switched it up. So let's come back and do that again. Let's put it on this side. Now let's bring them together. Oh, that actually forms that shape of that block. Okay, I got it. All right, so let's go ahead and pin these up and we'll sew them. And while we're at the machine, we're going to sew them both at the same time. Okay. All right, so let's meet over at the sewing machine and sew up our block C. All right, so here we are at the sewing machine and I have my pieces. I'm gonna go ahead and get those going. Again, using a 1/4 inch. I'm gonna add my second one here. All right, so let's take a look at those. Nice. Nice. So what I'm doing here is finger pressing. So in the magic world of TV, we're going to assume that Tisha pressed these, right? But you will press yours at home. But while I still have you here at the sewing machine, I am finger pressing. And that's what you'll see that language or hear that language amongst quilters, finger pressing. All they're doing is bringing back the fabric, running their fingers over that seam, just like you see me doing here, okay? So they're holding in place temporarily, but it will work for this quick moment. So now I'm ready to put these together. Again, matching up those seams together, making sure that they're kissing each other. So I'm going to stagger them literally right on top of each other, as you can see. Beautiful. I'm making sure one seam is going to the right and one seam is going to the left. That looks beautiful. Put a pin in it. That looks good. I'm going to match up those ends now. And once I match up those ends, I'm ready to sew this up. Beautiful. All right, so let's go ahead and put these together. Let's bring that needle up. Okay, and oh, look at that nice hourglass. I love it. So let's meet over at the cutting table and let's press out our block. All right, so here I am at the cutting table. My block looks amazing. I'm loving it. So let's go ahead and press that out. I think Buttercup needs a little bit more water, but that's okay. I brought my handy dandy mister with me. Nice. A lot of people ask, so for me, I use oh God, I have to get the name. I'm missing it and everything. But this is just a simple mist bottle with spray starch in it. Okay. Nice. All right. So this is official. It is block C. Now, in each of these blocks, I should talk about it. She does tell you how many you need to make. So for block A, she says you need, I'm going to write it right in the corner of each of my blocks. Let's see. Oh, here we go. There are, okay, block B, here we go. Block B has 54, so we need 54 of these. And they're right in the corner here. And for block C, there are 18. So I'm gonna put that in the corner here. Now, as we move on to block D, that is on page 5. We'll need 60 of those. We'll just put that in the corner. Okay. All right. And we're going to just repeat these steps as we go from each block. So now we're up to block D. And if you notice, we have 2 color prints. For me, it would be African print. And so let me get some more blocks here. Some different colors. Okay, let's see what we got here. And I want to put 2 together. Oh, I like this nice green. Oh, look at that nice kente print. And I really want the colors to really pop. You know, I'm going for that contrasting look. All right, that looks good. Again, I'm making sure that my triangles are standing. I'm putting them together at the side. So here we have 1. And then that second unit is 2 blacks. And we've done that already when we put our B blocks together. So let's bring over one of those because they're already done. Okay. And so that's what this will look like. So let's turn that around. And it looks exactly like the diagram. So let's go ahead and put these together. Bring this unit over as well because it's already done for us. And we can sew them up at the same time. Nice. Okay. All right. So let's meet over at the sewing machine. All right. And let me check the chat. Let me check the chat. All right. Okay. Wonderful. Everyone is doing good. Doing good. All right. So I'm at the sewing machine. And the first one we want to sew up is the African print. So let's put that to the side. I want to make sure they're lined up. I'm going to sew the short ends together. Okay. And, uh-oh, I didn't line that up correctly. Let me come back. There we go. All right. So again, I'm just going to open that up. Now, this is the thing. Okay, Tisha, now you got 2 African prints. What side are you going to press that seam to? Wherever one is the lightest. You know, because some African prints are a little denser than others. I'm going to just find what's easy. Just find what's easy. Okay. So I just pressed it to the opposite side because this side feels lighter than this one. All right. So let's put them together, matching up those seams. And guess what? It just so happened that the black was hanging to the left. And the way I pressed it, finger pressed it, it's going to the right. So that's nice. It worked out in my favor. All right. So let's put a pin in that. Let's check those ends. And let's check the other one. And I highly recommend as you're going through this, try to chain stitch your pieces. Like if you're working on block, you don't have to do a lot with block A, but like block B and C and D, try to do each of those blocks units at the same time. So if you're going to be making your B's, make all your B's. And I believe we wrote the number onto the sticky note sheet. So you need about 54. So do all 54. If you're doing block C, I think there's like 18 of them. Do all 18 of them and chain stitch them. That way you don't have to sew, cut, press, sew, cut, press. Do all your sewing as much as for that unit as much as possible. It'll allow you to work smarter and not harder. Okay. All right, so now let's go ahead and get this one going. Nice. Bring up that needle. And as you can see, I'm cutting, pressing, sewing again. But you will work much smarter than I'm doing right now. All right, so that looks really, really nice. Let's take this block over to the cutting table and let's press it out. All right, so here we are at the cutting table and look at that. That looks like D. Really, really nice. All right, so let's take this over and press it out. Nice. That looks beautiful. All right, so now this is block D. And for block D, I need 60 of those. So I want to sew these units, just working on this one unit, make all 60 at one time. That way you can sew them up at the same time, you can press them at the same time, get your units all lined up, and then you can move on to the next one, okay? All right, so that's D. So as we keep moving forward, our next block is E. Okay, it's block E. So let's bring over some of our pieces. And as you can see, our first unit is 2 color pieces. Okay, so let's bring over 2. And now I just intuitively just try to make sure I find 2 pieces that are opposite. So you don't want to pick up, you don't want to struggle with making choices, looking through all your pieces, just randomly pick them up. But if you notice that you pick up 2 of the same, just know that, hey, I don't want to have the same 2 prints together or the same colors. So pick something that's different in a different color, okay? So I want something like, oh, a yellow would be nice against this. Yeah, how about those 2? I like it. All right, so again, we're sewing them up along the short side, so we already know what that is, okay? So that's one unit here. So we're gonna set that one over in the side here. And then for our second unit, we're gonna bring a African print or color with a black, the background. Okay, so we need one of those and we need another color. What have I? Okay, how about a purple or a blue, another color other than orange and this yellow. Let's see. Ooh, how about this color? This is a nice pop of blue and purple. Nice. All right, so let's put these together at the short end. Okay, just like so. And if we look at the diagram and we put these 2 sections together, it will look like this. Beautiful. All right, so let's go ahead and sew this up. Again, I'm gonna put those together, right side to right side. Right side to right side. Nice. All right, so let's meet over at the sewing machine. Let's sew these up. We're gonna do some finger pressing, bring these 2 pieces together to form block E. All right, so here we are. And let's go ahead and get these pieces sewn. Again, we are working on block E. And my second piece, needle up. I'm just going to snip these and we're going to finger press them. This feels lighter, so I'm just going to finger press that one to that side. Because that one's to the right. I want to make sure this one is hanging to the left. Yep. And once you start assembling your units together, you'll start to realize what I mean by the thickness and the weight of the fabric. All right, so I got those staggered there. That looks really, really nice. Bring those ends together. Nice. And let's go ahead and sew this up. Now again, in the instruction sheet, everything is pretty much at 1/4 of an inch, okay? Nice. Let's bring up that needle. And let's check out block. Ooh, drum roll. Block E. Yay. I need some sound bite, like applause sound bite. Yay. All right, so let's meet back at the cutting table and let's press out block E. All right, so here we are with block E, and those seams are going crazy. So let's go ahead and press this out now. All right, I'll give it a little miss there. Buttercup, how you been doing, girl? All right. That looks beautiful. Block E is completed. We are rolling right along. So let's go ahead and pin that. In our last unit, because we have 6 in total, is F. So that is on page 7. Page 7, okay? So I notice in all of these units, they are all African print. That's right. So let's save ourselves. I have some that are already pre-sewn. We already know how to put them together. Okay. We already know, making sure that we put them together along the short sides. So I have a lot of these units already pre-sewn together, sets, just African prints. Okay. So since I have these available, I might as well just grab 2. Okay. I like the first 2. Look at that. And bring these together. Oh, look at that. I'm loving that. All right, so let's put these 2 together like so. I'll put some pins in here. All right, and let's meet over at the sewing machine. Sew this up, press it out, and let's come back and review our blocks. All right, so I'm here back at the sewing machine and we are working on block F, okay? We got our 2 pieces together. Coming across that center seam. All right, so let's take a look at that. Bring up that needle. There we go. Oh, beautiful. I love that block. All right, so let's bring that over to the cutting table, press it out, and check out our blocks. All right, so we're here at the cutting table, and let's go ahead and press this out. That looks nice. Look at that. So again, this is block F. All right, so let's review our units and let's talk about how many we need, okay? Let me grab that other number. Okay. So in order to form the exploding heart, all of these beautiful pieces, they're just exploding. It looks amazing. So in order to form this pattern, the quilt, you'll need to have these blocks, all 6 of them. And again, they are in alphabetical order, A, B, C, D, E, and F. Now, earlier I talked about each of these blocks, okay? So for each of my blocks, let's just review. Once you have all your units, you understand, and I recommend just making the unit so you have, this is what we call your practice sheet. This is what I'm gonna put on my design wall. This is going to help me refer to my block pieces quickly if I have them somewhere and I don't have to constantly run to my instruction sheet. They're there for me to display and for me to review and to check out to make sure I'm working on that particular unit that I need. So I recommend doing this first. It's almost like even for my garments, I always do especially in those difficult areas and I'm not sure about, I'll just make a really small sample piece so that I know that it's going to fit me in my bust. It's going to fit me in my waist. This is the same thing. Make each of your units first, practice on them so you get an understanding of how to assemble your pieces together before you start assembling all of one unit and realize you did it wrong. Okay? And that's when we all want to just cry. So practice first on all of your units, put them together, label them, and put them where you need them so you can refer to them whenever you need to. So as you can see, block A, and block A is just the square. And she tells you how many squares to cut. Let me see if I can find it. It's really, really background. Okay, but it's in your instruction sheet, but I know there's quite a few of these. It's like in the hundreds. But go ahead and get those together. For my B, and I'm just finding those numbers at the bottom of the unit in the instruction sheet, it says 54. Okay, it says 54. Now, if you're following the basics, the basic cutting instructions, you'll notice that she'll tell you to do 28 of these and 28 of those and bring them all together to make 54. But in total, you're still going to need 54. Okay. So make sure when you're doing it, go ahead and make all of your beads, make all 54, get them ready. Now, another thing that Tisha does as well is I intentionally make 5 extra blocks. I'll make 5 of each of these, 5 additional ones. And I'm going to tell you why. I really want to make sure that none of the colors are touching each other. Sometimes when I go to the layout, sometimes if I don't have enough extra pieces, some of those colors may just accidentally bump up to each other or the same print. So if I have some extra ones that I can use to swap out, that's even better. I don't have to go back and say, oh my God, I wish I had a blue here instead of the same 2 oranges. So I tend to make 5 extra blocks of each of my units so that I'll have that diversity. So if that works for you, then that's great. If you find that, hey, I'm okay with it, go for it. Remember, this is your quilt. And I'll move on to the next one. So I'll move on to, once I finish my, instead of 54, for me, it'll probably end up being 59 or 60, just depending on how I feel. Then I'll move on to my unit C, and then I'll make my 18. Then I'll make a few extra more, about 3 or 5 extra more. So I'll have them there as well. And then I would do all of my D's. Repeat that same step for each one. Now, once I start having these together, you're going to start having huge piles, right? Huge piles of these blocks. And so what I tend to do, I grab my little bucket here. In my little bag. What I tend to do, once I have all these units, and they're going to get really, really big, your piles are going to get big. I like to put them in clear buckets, clear containers. Here at So Creative Lounge, we keep a lot of clear containers because I can see them from a distance, okay? But if you're limited on space and you don't have clear buckets, and it's okay, use Ziploc bags. And as you can see, this is not a new bag. This bag been worn. It's been used 100 times. So I am a saver of Ziploc bags in an assortment of sizes because I never know when I'm going to need them. So again, it's really helpful for me to put them into my Ziploc bags, keep the number, name on them, and I can see them. Okay. So find a way to store your units and keep them separate. That is going to be important, especially when you start working with 6 different units. You can get them crisscross easy. Okay. This will make your layout when you start putting these units together. And she's going to start jumping. Oh, you're going to need A, C, D, A, B, F, E, A. It's going to make that putting these rows together so much easier. So you really want to have a good organization system that's going to keep you organized and not lost. And what's C and what is F and where get your containers, okay? All right. So with that being said, we talked about all of the blocks. We talked about pressing and the why behind our pressing our seams, testing your seams. We also talked about sewing up your units, how many units you will need for each. Okay. So this is for homework. Start sewing. Start sewing. I highly recommend start with something that's really easy. Okay, start with the easy ones. If you find that starting with B is easy, then go with that. If you find starting with C is easy because it's less of them, then do for that. I know sometimes when I see numbers, I get daunted. Like, oh my God, I gotta make 60 of these things. I'm gonna do this for last. But start with easy because that's where you get your motivation. And before you know it, I'll sew up my 18 in like 5 minutes. Like, okay, that didn't feel so bad. Okay, I can do another. I can do it. I can accomplish another one. So start with something that's easy. Okay, don't start with the really hard ones. I know I have some people out there, really troopers and warriors. I want to start with the hard one. Give me the big one. Hey, if that's your thing, go with it. Okay. All right. So homework. Start assembling your sets together. Okay. Start working that out. Tomorrow we'll come back and we will have all of these sets completed. hmm The magic world of TV works that way. And we are going to start putting those rows together, row by row by row by row. I'm going to change our setup in the studio so that we can really have a space that we can work with, and so I can start laying these out for you. So if the settings looks a little different tomorrow, that's because we're starting to take these really small pieces, putting them together on a really large scale, so we can really see what our quilt is going to look like. I'm kind of excited about it. Like I said, I've been wanting to make this for quite some time. So we're going to have this quilt ready by the end of this week. Yes, indeedy. All right, with that being said, let me check the chat. I haven't checked the chat in a while. Let's see how we're doing. Oh, you've had the pattern for a while? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That would do it. Any questions? Any questions? Oh, you know what? I think I am on. Okay. I am not in the chat. So if my team is here with me, if I'm missing any questions or anything, please let me know. I think my feed was on day one, and I'm not sure how to get back to day two, so I can't see the chat. I don't know what happened. Remember, Tisha is learning, so please, please. All right, so let's go to the headshot and let's chit chat. That is. All right, here we go. All right, so let's chit chat before we end our session. So, two things. Homework. Okay, homework. Go ahead and start assembling your blocks. Let's go ahead and start sewing them. Okay. Um, Tomorrow we'll come back in tomorrow and we'll start putting these blocks together. So have fun. Have fun. You got a lot of sewing to do. Okay, but you can do it. With that being said, I just want to remind our members, if you're tuning in and you're trying to get access to your calendar, you have to go into the portal. So you need to log in to Thinkific. Okay. Go to where your calendar is and you have to click on it. Even if you see the old one, just click on it and it'll populate the new one. So you have to go into Thick Fit to get access to the calendar. Okay. We sent out a few emails in regards to this, but I'm I'm hearing it from the community. How did I get into my calendar? I didn't see my calendar. So that's how you get into your calendar. Okay. And the other thing for our new sew along, we're kind of like in the second month of our sew along for our boutiques and for our kentes, the deer rays, and indigos. We are working on that freedom vest. And so we know, I'm sorry, Janet and myself was out for our families have been going through a um, a recovery time, and I want to say thank you for allowing us to go through that process. They're coming along fine. The husbands and families are doing well. But with that being said, we realize we need to have some more videos and some more language, some more instructions on how we make that transition. So we hear you and we are working on it. So for this month, Tisha gonna be working on two sew-alongs. So be patient with us and everything. I know we hear you, but we're working on some videos to make that happen for you guys. And we're going to upgrade those instructions so that you can see how you make that connection from your patterns. Take your patterns and your blocks. Take that and turn that into a vest. So that's definitely coming up real soon. Okay. With that being said, I'm going to see you guys tomorrow for day 3 on the Exploding Heart. I hope you're having fun. Let us know. And give me some ideas about what's our next Sew with Tisha project. Throw them out there, put them in a chat. Let us know what you'd like to see. I'm going to tell you one thing that I've been hearing a lot of. I had no idea how many new babies, no matter what your relationship to them, we've never had any sewing projects with babies in mind. And the community is crying for us. So I'm hoping that we had some visitors today asking for something like I was thinking, how about baby bibs? And someone said, how about the baby romper? So I'm gonna try that. I think I have a few in my probably downloadable ones. I'm definitely gonna look at those and probably put that on our schedule. Definitely sometime in the later spring, early summertime. Okay, so I do have my radar on that. With that being said, thank you everyone. And let me just say this: we listen. If you have an idea, please post it. Let us know about it. We love hearing from our members. That's how we move forward. That's how we come up with our project. That's how what trip we going to, right? So yeah. So we love hearing from you guys and everything. So again, I will see you tomorrow on day 3 of the Exploding Heart. You all have a wonderful hump day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Now it's a one-man band, so I'm gonna have to turn this off by myself. Okay. You all have a wonderful day. Take care now. Bye.